If you're not paying attention to ICWA, you need to. ICWA is the Indian Child Welfare Act, which governs the removal and placement of Indigenous children. Basically, it was put in place to protect Indigenous people and their connection to their culture. And right now, the Supreme Court is debating on whether or not to say that it's unconstitutional, because a few palm-colored adopted parents say that it's discrimination because it won't allow them to adopt Indigenous children because of their skin color, basically. Let's check out this article by Hillary Tompkins. It says, "I'm a Jersey girl born into the Salt clan. My Navajo identity was taken from me. My adoption papers said my mother was very attractive and that my grandmother has some education and is considered to be an intelligent woman. My father, who was listed as Plains, was described as having hair with a slight tendency to wave. These small nuggets of information from my adoption papers were my only connection to my birth family. Only much later in life, as a young adult taking Native American studies at Dartmouth College, did I learn that I also had a legal connection with the Navajo Nation as a citizen of the tribe. I'm like many Native Americans who were placed in palm-colored families under the Department of the Interior's Indian Adoption Project in the 1960s and 70s. As with the placement of Indian children in boarding schools, this program removed Native children from their tribes without justification and assimilated them into the mainstream America. When I met my birth family as a young adult, one of my aunts held me and cried, saying the last time she held me, I was a baby, and she had told the hospital officials that she and my extended family would take care of me. But to no avail. I was taken away and put up for adoption anyway." Recognizing that the continued existence of tribal nations was at stake because of the loss of up to 35% of their children, Congress outlawed this practice in 1978 with the passage of the Indian Child Welfare Act. At the time, placement with white families was estimated to be at 90%. Earlier this month, the U.S. Supreme Court held oral arguments in a closely watched case, Holland versus Brackeen, to decide whether the Indian Child Welfare Act is unconstitutional because it favors the adoption of Native children by Native families. The states of Texas, Louisiana, and Indiana, along with non-Native parents seeking to adopt Native children, say that ICWA amounts to racial discrimination because it has nothing to do with the ability of Indians to govern themselves. They argue that the states and non-Native parents should be able to decide the placement of Native children free of consideration of their tribal status because there is no political interest of the tribes at stake. I'll continue in part 2.